Welcome back, everyone, to another film spotlight. And yeah, today it is just me again. And we're here today to review A24's newest film, Talk to Me, which was directed by Danny Filippo and Michael Filippo. Most people know them on YouTube as Raka Raka. They are comedian content creators. They work a lot of the time with the Misfits, another Australian comedian group. And but they decided to make a horror film, and Talk to Me is being raved about by critics as the next great horror movie and the horror movie of the summer, end of the year. So right off the start, I guess that's how I would say it, is it was solid. It was. It is currently sitting at a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, and a 90% on Google. I probably have it around the IMDb score. I probably have like a 7.4, 7.5, 74, 75. And I think without the final 15 minutes, it's probably saying like an 85. But again, I think I've talked about this a lot in our film spotlights. I'm not the biggest fan of horror movies having to have this big, crazy ending. I feel like if it's just simple, it would work a lot better. And there's a distinct scene in the movie where it takes that turn to be like, oh, we're going to do some crazy thing. And it does do that. And I think it kind of hurts the movie more than it ever helps it. But before I get really into the negative part of it, the upsides to this movie is that the directing was incredible. Every scene was extremely important in the first two acts. It has one of the most disturbing sequences I've ever seen in a horror movie, especially in a theater experience. This movie does not care to show gore, violence, vulgar language, and it's even more frightening because it's a bunch of like 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids, and then even like a 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid. And the movie just really is just creepy, and the tone's great. The music was phenomenal. And especially for me, I'm rewatching all of Nolan's films, and going from that and then finally getting to watch something different for the first time in a little bit. It was pretty nice, change of pace. And I will say every movie I've watched in these last week have had incredible scores, from Barbie to Oppenheimer to The Prestige to now Talk to Me. And I think a main issue with this movie is the lead actress, and her name is Sophia Wilde. And maybe not her performance as Mia, but just in total the character of Mia. I didn't love it, and I didn't care for the character as much as I would like to, because there's a character, Daniel. He's a young kid, and he's the character I cared most about throughout the film. And he's kind of what the story is about, but he's not the lead actor. And I'm gonna keep saying "and" a lot. But yeah, this movie definitely doesn't shy away from gore, and it doesn't shy away from the shock factors, which work a lot in horror. So there's no problems with that. But yeah, no, this movie's definitely scary, and it definitely did a good job of that. And again, it continues what I believe is are the two closest genres, is comedy and horror, because it's both just build up, build up, build up till it's payoff. So I think that's why people who work in comedy and people who work in horror can go flip flop genres, because it's the same premise, just different topics. And I think we saw that with Jordan Peele making Get Out, Us, and Nope now. And he's known by everyone from Key and Peele. Maybe he's known most for the substitute teacher bits, but it shows that you can change genres, especially if you are in the comedy horror area. I think it's hard to go from different genres, but horror and comedy seem to mix really well with directors and filmmakers. But as I was saying, this movie definitely doesn't go without its flaws. It takes some shots in the third act that I didn't think it needed to do. It went too big when the whole movie is very small scale events, and it takes this massive jump to make it more in the Insidious kind of world instead of being a small scale like it was the entire movie. And especially with an hour and 35-minute runtime, it flies by, and then it slows down so much in that final 15 minutes, to the point where it's not good how much that has slowed down. And that's I don't want to diss on this movie, because I did have a lot of fun seeing with a couple of my friends. And just a horror movie experience in theaters is always so much fun because you get to see everyone else's reactions, not just your own. And there is a scene where my one buddy closed his eyes and me and my other friend both jolted because it is a really hard scene to watch because it is the Daniel kid gets severely injured due to the demons that are coming through the hand, embalmed hand. And yeah, no, this movie works a lot. Most, I will say, more than half of it works. More than three-quarters of it works, probably. It's just that final bit I was not a fan of, but some people really liked it. And I know the Rotten Tomato score is incredible right now. It's super high. People love it. So I still think you should go check it out if you haven't seen it. And especially if you are a fan of the horror genre, then definitely go watch this movie. But if you're not, definitely don't watch it. And if you don't like gore or body horror, definitely do not watch this movie. It's not for you. It it does have, especially the last. I've seen a, I think I've seen a pretty big chunk of horror recently. I want to go to my list to make sure I'm not getting this wrong. Give me 1 second, everyone. So just this year, so far I've seen Skinamarink, Knock at the Cabin, Cocaine Bear, Scream 6, Megan, The Pope's Exorcist, The Evil Dead Rise, Bo is Afraid. I don't know if I count that as a horror. The Boogeyman, The Blackening, which is a comedy horror. And now this. So I mean, I think I've seen a lot of horror. I'm tech typing it in my thing. Not that I'm not paying attention. Um, so the horror genres had what I think is probably one of their best years in recent memory because there's so many good horror movies coming out, and I think they've kind of found a solid place for horror, and they've gotten a lot more consistent than what they've been these last like 10 years because we've gotten ones like The Conjuring, Sinister, Insidious, the whole Insidious franchise, the whole Conjuring franchise. I think of some really bad, like Shark Night in 3D, which me and Ryan have talked about on the show before. It's horrible. The Shallows isn't terrible, a little too much CGI. But all in all, this movie does work for the majority of it. I think the ending just kind of put a sour taste in my mouth, which kind of makes me have a negative viewpoint on the rest of the movie. But all the actors did their jobs. There was no outstanding performance. A horror movie, very short horror movie, but the writing was very good. The camera work was very good. Cinematography worked, and it's A24, so we all know that they're going to be it's going to be an awesome movie. And I am promoting A24 because they are the only company so far that has signed off on the strike, and their movies can start being made again, which is awesome. So shout out to A24 for again proving that why they're probably the best production company right now. But no, this movie was a lot of fun. If you're a fan of horror, as I said, definitely go check it out. But it could have been so much better. There's a point in this movie where I think they need to start leaning into horror movies, letting the bad creature, demon, whatever win. It doesn't always have to be a happy ending. And this one's definitely a little more gray area if it's a happy ending. But still, there was a chance to really make this something special in the horror community, and I think they missed it by that much. They were so close. And this is our directorial debut, which I think, counting all directorial debuts, this is a very good one for the brothers, especially going from YouTube to now directing right away just a feature horror film. So all the credit to them. They did a great job. I just think they maybe need to tone it down next time at the end. And this is coming from me. I couldn't make this movie. This movie's incredible. So maybe I will try and make a horror movie, and who knows, maybe a simple ending doesn't work. But congrats to both the brothers. Congrats to Raka Raka. And I don't really have much else to say. This is just a short 10-minute episode, like most of them. So I guess shifting out of the review, just want to give you a heads up. We are filming our short film this weekend. Very excited. So if I look kind of like shit, that's kind of the point. And yeah, we're super excited. Me and Ryan have worked really hard on this project, and we're super excited to share it with all of you. I think eating disorders and depression are a huge topic, and they're not talked about enough with men's mental health, men's eating disorders. So yeah, we'll keep giving you guys updates. We'll start doing some talking about it once it's all filmed, and maybe once we get a good look at it, and then we can tell you guys more about it. But yeah, we start filming tomorrow. Me and Ryan are both extremely excited to show you guys everything, and we thank you all, everyone who donated. It was a huge help to both of us. And yeah, I think that's all I really have to say today. So go check out A24's newest film. Talk to me. It was very fun. Didn't perfectly land, but did a really good job of scaring me and definitely making me think about the film after the fact. So I will talk to you guys next week.